welcome to Local Hogwash.
She did it all on her own without me saying nothing.
Every now and then I like to surprise her.
Mm-hmm. This is Kristy Bock.
Oh, I'm Michelle Cash.
And today we have Linda Rouse Sutton.
Yes, and I'm sorry I didn't get here in time for hair and makeup. I've been in the rain for 3 times today, so y'all do have hair and makeup, right? Yeah, I thought so.
No, I asked for that
Well,
on
you did.
our very first episode, and I was kindly told, no. Bring your own.
Do I need to talk to BJ?
Well, we need to. I don't. But think about that for a second, though. Do you really want BJ Murphy doing your hair and your makeup?
No, I didn't say.
That is not what I had in mind.
I didn't say he had to do it. I'm just saying. Somebody.
If you remember, on the first episode, we were going to literally reach out to a local salon and ask if they wanted the exposure.
Yeah, it never happened.
We just didn't.
Darn.
So if you want to help Local Hogwash with hair and makeup, please feel
With
free.
free advertising?
With free advertising. We will put your logo up, talk about you, tell them everybody how much we love you, and then my hair will look good.
Please do so I can come back and look good.
I think your hair looks nice.
I do too.
Thank
I
you. I
love the color.
appreciate that.
Do you know about the Devious Licks TikTok?
I do not.
Okay. So the Devious Lick TikTok started on September 1st, and it actively encouraged children to go to school, cause some mayhem and destruction, take a video of them doing it.
Now, I
posting
did
it
hear
on
about
TikTok.
that, but I didn't know that was what it was called.
Yeah.
So in Greene County, there were 6 children who are now in a whole lot of trouble for this TikTok. 2 of them from the high school, 4 of them from the middle school. And this is a for real thing. That it's well within the schools right now to charge them with destruction of property. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't a school a federal building?
Mm-mm.
No, good.
State
Okay.
building.
So is destruction of
Well,
state
local
property a
local
thing?
building.
So either
Still
way,
local
it's just it's
Local.
destruction. It's destruction of property. The kids are going to have to pay back the damages and restitution. Not to mention, depending on their age, they could be tried differently. A 14-year-old is going to get tried differently than a 10-year-old. So there's so many things.
I hope somebody puts that on TikTok too.
Well, in TikTok's defense, 2 weeks ago or last week, TikTok actually stopped any video that's pertaining to the Devious
Good
Lick.
for
They
them.
took them off. You can't use the hashtag. So what they do, they change it to Dubious Licks and to Devious Licks.
Who names these things?
Or Delicious Licks, whatever it was. I don't know. Well, it started because a kid swiped a box of
Masks.
Was it masks? I thought it was gloves. Either way,
Okay.
swiped a box of something and put a week into school Devious Licks. So that's where it came from. But the reality of it is, I'm grateful I do not have children in high school and middle school, because my children, they're trend followers. So, and my sons, God love them, aren't really great at impulse control. So if I got a school call, Miss Bock, your sons have destroyed a urinal in the bathroom because TikTok told them to, I'd probably go to jail myself for beating that.
I hope mine are fearful enough that they wouldn't even think about it.
Well, but it's amazing. You can raise them up to be as good as you possibly can, and 5 minutes of peer pressure can turn them around.
Yeah, that's so true.
And then they
I
do
have,
stupid stuff.
A wonderful son, and he's type 1 diabetic, and he was very much aware of what, drinking liquor could do or whatever, and he went down to a party at the beach, and if anybody would have told me he'd have done it, I swore he wouldn't. And the punishment was, to him, bless his heart, was everybody, of course, knew about it because they had to call 911. But a friend of mine who was a nurse down there got him and took him to her house and looked after him and everything. And they really think it wasn't liquor. It was what they used to call PJ, Purple Jesus.
Yeah.
So it was all those fruit juices, so all the sweetness in there.
Yikes.
But bless his heart, I didn't have to punish him because he punished himself enough. Because I said, when you go back to school Monday, everybody will know.
Yes.
Your teachers,
yes,
your principal, and everybody else.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I never thought he would do it. So you don't know what the kids would do when they get in the right situations.
It's true.
So, Linda, tell us all about you.
My daddy was a small farmer, and went to. In fact, I was in the third graduating. I'm telling my age class of South Lenoir. My husband was in the first.
I go Devils.
Yeah, that's
But they
right.
weren't Devils then.
Rebels.
Rebels.
That's right. Then we changed to Devils. But anyway, I graduated from there, and my plans were I wanted to go to Meredith College, and I wanted to major in home economics, and I wanted to work for the Cooperative Extension Service.
It's a good plan.
Because I had been in 4-H and had exposure to that, and that was just my dream that I wanted to do. And somehow or other, my parents would have made a way for me to do that. I don't know. They'd have struggled, but they'd have done it. But I fell in love. And so that's not so bad either, because we've been married 53 years, bless his heart.
That's so sweet.
And,
That is sweet.
You know, of course, you always regret that you didn't go on and get more education, but I'm satisfied with my life. You know, like I said, I've been married 53 years to the same guy, and have 2 wonderful children and 4 wonderful, very special grandchildren.
Oh.
And I have been one of those that I've done just about everything you can think of. I'm a jack of all trades and a master at nothing. And somebody like me should totally not be in the position I am in.
Well, voters tend to disagree with that assessment.
Yes.
But
Clearly.
the reason,
all of these accolades disagree with you on that.
but the reason I got into politics was because when my daughter, who was rambunctious and walked at 6 months old, if that tells you anything, and was fast as lightning and never took naps. I'm serious.
Mom needed a break.
Mama's still traumatized.
She when she started going to kindergarten, she would come home off the bus. Now, everybody didn't drive their kids to school back then, but she would come home off the bus and she would take a 2-hour nap. I about died the first time it happened. I thought the kids dead or something, you know. But anyway, I had been out to the school, met the teacher and everything, but I had not been out there in the middle of the day. So I went out there at 11 o'clock. It was 91 degrees in her classroom. And she was hot-natured anyway, like her mama. And so I said, what's going on? And to make everything worse, they were on the end of the building, and it used to be a library, and the whole wall just about from here up was glass.
Oh,
So you can imagine how hot it got by 1 or 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So anyway, I asked, what was going on. Well, we don't have air conditioning. I said, don't have air conditioning? And they said, no. So here I went, and I started researching, and so I was president of the PTA at Southwood at that time, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we raised money, and we bought room air conditioners. Well, then they didn't have the money to pay for the room air conditioners. But anyway, to make a long story short, so that was my goal, and after 10 years being on the school board, we finally finished up completely air conditioning and everything. And, it's just something you can't believe, and I talked to a county commissioner at that time, and they said, well, I went to school and we sat under a tree and everything and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, no disrespect. I said, but you didn't live in an air-conditioned home, and you didn't drive an air-conditioned car,
Exactly.
and you didn't go to an air-conditioned grocery store and everywhere else you went.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's a different environment, and our children deserve better than that.
It's a different heat
Yeah.
now.
And so, anyway, that's where I got started. And from there, we had a countywide PTA at that time, which I became chair of. And then Grace Bock, rest in peace, my sweet soul, who passed away, was a good friend of mine. And she would help me and tell me what I needed to say when she was on the school board and all this kind of stuff. So we collaborated and really taught me a lot, and was one of the most wonderful mentors anybody could have. But so she finally encouraged me. She said, you just need to get on the school board. And I said, Grace, I don't come from that kind of background. She said, no, you come from somebody who wants to get something done and cares about the kids. And I said, well, yeah, that I do. I said, but Grace, she said, yes, you can. So anyhow, she encouraged me, and bless her sweetheart, I got on and she got off.
She set you up.
I didn't know she was training me to
take her place.
Take her place. But anyway.
She bait and switched you.
So I got on there, and through Cooperative Extension Service, you want me to shut up? Just
No,
Keep
you're
going.
good.
Through Cooperative Extension Service, which I was involved in at that time, I had the pleasure of going to Raleigh And this was back when it was little homemakers,
So hang on, let me just reiterate. So this is you're going to the cooperative extension, what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah.
So that's still kind of cool that
Oh,
you got
yeah.
to be so totally involved.
Yeah, because I wound up being a 4-H club leader and judging stuff, and my parents were very active too. They were 4-H leaders, but anyhow, the state organization got $50,000 from Port Barrel funds from the legislature, and another $50,000 from the Kellogg Corporation to put on this what they call FCL, Family Community Leadership training, and it was for 1 week. We stayed in the Hilton at Raleigh, which was like
The
Ritz-Carlton to me at that time, and it was first class. I mean, from our rooms to our meals to our instructors, and we really got an in-depth training on what you needed to do to be able to present at hearings and things like that, and as well as be a candidate. So before you even went, you had to sign a piece of paper saying that you would either get appointed to a commission or committee or something, or either run for public office. So Marguerite Whitfield and I came back. She ran for county commissioner, and I ran for school board. And I got the most votes of anybody that ran, and I had to use the least amount of money. But the reason for that is because I'd started out grassroots, and I'd learned how to use my money at that training real smart too. And so it and that's how it all started, really.
So I went to the event a couple weeks ago with Judge Heath, and you were there. It was an informational session for the drug court, and I am a huge fan of drug court programs. Anything that helps children not belong in foster care. I am just an absolute fan of. So at that table, I was sitting across from Colleen, and we agreed to meet later to talk about it. So I just went down and I said, okay, tell me how I can use what resources I have to help you. And she's like, we need volunteers. So the article will come out over this weekend, but everybody should go to volunteerforgal.org. It is for the Guardian Ad Litem program.
I'm a guardian ad litem.
I'm so happy you are. I think if you are in Lenoir County in a position to help, don't know what to do, and just want something to help that you'll immediately feel.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you volunteer, you do something, it has a longer term for the greater good. But for a guardian ad litem, your emotional return is immediate because the children need you now.
Let me tell you a little story. I'm not as active now as I was at one time because I'm involved in so much other stuff. But back before COVID, I was going to Raleigh a lot. So a lot of times they would just get me to go make a house visit up there, because, so somebody else wouldn't have to go that far and everything. So that's pretty much, well, I haven't done that in a while. But when I first started out, I had several cases. And I had this little girl who was abused at her home. And it was a really sad situation. It involved stepdad and stepdad's son and all this kind of stuff, and she was being abused. But anyhow, we finally got her out of there, and things turned out, and I kept up with her because back then they weren't as rigid as they are about the rules now. Now you can't take them home or anything. Well, I took her home, and she stayed with us. We took her to church and all that kind of stuff. Got really close to her, and if my family wouldn't have killed me, I'd have probably adopted her or something. But anyhow, I didn't stay home long enough to look after her. But anyhow, so anyway, we've kept in contact, and I hadn't seen her in a while. And so my mom was in the nursing home in Greenville, and we had made an appointment for her to get hearing aids. And so in comes the doctor, and in comes his assistant. And guess who it was?
It was her.
It was her.
Oh,
She
man.
cried and I cried.
I
Oh,
bet.
that's so sweet.
And so, that really made me feel good to know she was doing all right and,
Yeah.
had turned around. And that's, I've got others, but just that one thing was worth everything I had done.
I agree. I think, again, if you want to volunteer, go to volunteerforgal.org, and you will never find a more satisfying volunteer opportunity.
I don't think so either.
So we have an event coming up next month.
Going to Washington.
I'm so
They're letting
excited.
the two of y'all go to Washington.
I know. And it looks, so I did a lot of research, and I'm feeling less and less like they'll close all of the Smithsonian. So I think they're just going to let it ride. COVID be damned. So, so I'm excited because as much as I want to go see, there's something I want to see. Throughout the whole month of October, there is a white flag posed on the lawn, I guess at the back of the White House. I'm not sure exactly where it is. There are 670,000 white flags.
COVID.
I want to go see that. It's one for everybody who died for COVID. I want to see that so bad. Just in person. Like, I saw the videos of it. I saw somebody walk through it, and it's amazing to see on TV. But could you just imagine standing in a field of 670 some odd thousand white flags, knowing
More than killed in some wars.
yes, more people died of COVID now than died of the Spanish influenza in 1918.
Yep.
So I just think that would be an incredibly powerful moment, and I want to. I mean, I would probably equate it to to see Ground Zero after 9/11, which I already
Amen.
did. Yes.
I'm going to wear my mask.
Yes, we are going to take precautions because it just makes sense to do so.
Yeah.
Well, I hope not, but they say we'll probably have another big spike. It's sort of steady right now, but the sad thing is it's hitting so many children who haven't been able to get the vaccination.
Well, they're working really, really hard on that. The 5 to 12 age range is being tested right now. So
Pfizer has sent their data to
So I'm hoping that within, I'm gonna be very generous and hope within the next 90 days that will be the start of an option, at least submitted to the FDA.
I wanted to mention something else too, because I think every day now I hear it. You keep hearing people say, I got a booster shot. They have not gotten a booster shot. The booster shot has not been approved by the FDA yet. I think they set the date till the September 20th, and of course that's gone by, so we don't know when that's going to happen.
So,
what people are getting is this shot for, if you got circumstances like if you're very high risk, you've had cancer, and I don't know what all the stipulations are, but you can get it. It's immune something, I don't know. But that's what people are getting. And a lot of people are telling you, I got the booster shot. No, you didn't get the booster shot.
So what's the difference between a booster dose and an additional dose? Sometimes people who are moderately to severely immunocompromised do not build enough or any protection when they first get a vaccination. When this happens, getting another dose of the vaccine can sometimes help them build more protection against a disease. This appears to be the case for some immunocompromised people in COVID-19 vaccines. CDC recommends moderately to severely immunocompromised people consider receiving an additional third dose of the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine, Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna, at least 28 days after the completion of the initial 2-dose mRNA COVID-19 vaccine series. So now I understand. So what they're getting now, the people who, this is from the CDC, so this is just straight from them, the only people who would be getting that third shot, which is in effect a booster, but it's a third vaccine.
Yeah.
So, so I see the distinction.
And they also are saying that if you get that, you need to really check with your doctor first. And I think you have to sign saying, a waiver saying that there could be some possible.
That you understand, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted people to know that so they won't think, they've had that and I don't need to get the booster is what I'm worried about.
Well, I think people make decisions on a variety of reasons, and I hope and I pray that the people are making the decisions about COVID-19 with their doctor and no one else.
Yeah.
Not me, not Michelle, not Miss Linda.
Maybe we're smart. We're not that smart.
Right. Talk to your doctor, because your doctor, the one whom you trust with if you were to have cancer, or the one you trust with if you were to have something wrong with your brain or your eyes or your knees. If you trust your doctor to take care of your physical being, please trust his recommendation when it comes to COVID-19, because that's where we're at.
It's been hard on health professionals anyway, But I understand that it's really bad now because they're seeing so many suffer and die
Yeah.
that it could have not, I'm not saying they could not have had COVID, but it wouldn't have been as bad and they wouldn't have died.
I told a story before, and we're going to wrap up here in a second, but I just wanted to reiterate one more time. 2 things changed my perception of COVID. One was when I interviewed Bob Dawson, and he changed my whole life as far as COVID-19 goes. Because that man looked me in the face and said, the only reason I'm here right now is because God told me to convince other people that COVID-19 was real.
Mm-hmm.
And he believed that. He believes his whole reason for being alive, to being brought back from a medically induced coma because of COVID, was to tell people to get the vaccine. And I'll never forget that. That was so emotionally, it was like being sucker punched in the gut over and over and over and over again as this man told me his story. Like I couldn't breathe. I was trying so hard not to cry. And then
and people that are having it now that didn't get the shot, that's the first thing they're doing when they get straightened out.
That they're like asking for it. Like people are being placed on ventilators and they're saying, can I just get the vaccine?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's too late right now.
Yeah.
But then when Hunter got it, when my daughter got COVID and I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go there, couldn't be there with her, couldn't sit with her. And then it was. And here she is, 21 years old. Her COVID turned right into COVID pneumonia because she has asthma and the two do not work well together. Hearing your child struggle to breathe day after day, hearing them, the oxygen's at 3, the oxygen's at 4, the oxygen's at 5, the oxygen's at 8. They have to send her home with oxygen because she couldn't. So it's those 2 things. Had they not happened, I probably would have had a more cavalier look on COVID. But since I experienced both of those, I can't.
Well, my heart goes out to the families who weren't able to visit them. I had a friend, his wife's father had it, and she could only sit in the window and watch as he slowly died. Couldn't touch him, couldn't be there with him, and I just can't imagine, it's bad enough to lose somebody, but not to even be there or to be able to say goodbye, it's,
Yeah.
But anyway, my heart goes out for all our victims.
Mine too. So moving on to a lighter note, if you would like to sponsor our Washington, D.C. trip, we will gladly accept your money. It will help us. We have some equipment to take with us, but we could use more to make the experience better audio and better video. So please feel free to help us. You can go online, www.localhogwash.com. You can find us on Facebook at Local Hogwash, Twitter at Local Hogwash, and TikTok.
But not on Devious Links.
But not on Devious Links because we have common bleeping sense.
To a point.
To a point.
Depends on how much wine they've had.
True that. So we'd like to take just a moment to thank our sponsors for Local Hogwash. We will start with Magic Mall Media. Thank you so much for letting us use the studio and all of your equipment. And we want to thank Brandon Potter, who does such amazing things. I'm excited to see what he is.
Genius.
I love his new haircut.
Me too. Most importantly, though, we want to thank our favorite person.
Danny.
We love you, Danny. You do great things.
He's good too.
He would just say,
Okay.
I know. He tickles me.
He does me too. But we also want to thank Linda for coming on the show.
thank you.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. I'm very honored.
hope
We-
you enjoyed
It has
it.
been fun.
It
Good, I'm
is.
glad.
On that note, we will see you same time, same place next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.